Hello, 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 hello.
Hi,
We have started.
we have indeed started. Welcome back, folks, to Series 6, Episode 8 of Your Time Starts Now, a Taskmaster podcast. He's Joe.
And he's Emerson.
And so, what's new in your life, Joe?
Nothing personally. However, we are recording this on the 8th of November, 2022, which is the midterm election day in the United States. So
Ah,
this is not going to apply to anyone. But if you're listening to this in the future and it is getting to be towards November, go out and vote, or make sure you know when to vote. Or if it's earlier in the year, sometime around like May or June, look up and see when your primaries are and if you need to go vote in those. Democracy. You can only complain about it if you participate.
uh, we haven't had a. We've had
Country.
three.
It's always good to look up when your local elections are.
My country has. I mean, we have. There's general elections all over the place, but we've not had a general election in this country for ages, and we've had three prime ministers.
Well, I mean, theoretically, if you
Well,
were a
well,
registered
four
member of
four
the.
people have been voted in as prime minister in such a short span of time.
I think if you were like a registered member of the Tory party, you could vote in. Uh, well, you could have voted Liz Truss. You could have voted Rishi Sunak. Either one of them.
Liz Truss will go on record as Britain's shortest-serving prime minister ever.
Yes, I do want to point out before we talk about anything else that that it actually we managed to have a very interesting piece of like a historical artifact with this podcast because we did episode 1 in the like 3-day period when Liz Truss was prime minister and Queen Elizabeth II was sovereign of the United Kingdom.
Oh, I
And
didn't notice that.
like because we talked about Liz Truss meeting the Queen, or we talked about Liz Truss taking office because it happened like the day before, and then the next day or day after, before I'd even gotten a chance to upload the video for it onto YouTube, the Queen died. I actually had to go put a disclaimer about that in front of the video to say like, "Hi, we recorded this in the like 72 hours that there was a woman in charge of the
I
government
don't.
in both the monarchy and the
I
legislature."
don't think it was even 72 hours. I think it might have been 48 or something.
It was something in between like 2 and 3 days, but I thought it was it's very interesting. We've got like a little historical artifact because we barely even mentioned that Rishi Sunak is now Prime Minister of the UK,
Oh
and
yeah,
we
Rishi Sunak is both the first non-white British prime minister, and he's
yes,
also the youngest prime minister to assume the position at the time.
yeah, is he the youngest?
I mean, he's the youngest to assume the position at the time he assumed assume the role of prime minister.
Okay,
Like how JFK was the youngest when he was
yeah,
appointed American president.
I'm
Um,
also just because we mentioned JFK, let's hope that Rishi Sunak's head does not explode like JFK's did.
Only one British prime minister has ever been assassinated.
Uh, which one?
Spencer Perceval. I'm not sure exactly when he was in office. Um, he was in office from 1762 to 1812.
Okay, so that is ye old breaking news on ye olde
Yeah,
CNN. The
it's
prime
it's like a
minister
good
has
it's
hath been assassinated.
it's just like a good pub quiz question kind of thing. Like,
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Anyway, another thing that happened is Alex Horn got his own TV show,
Yes, he did.
and I watched it. The Horn
I didn't.
section. Okay, so I will be very quickly giving my thoughts on the Horn section TV show. It's a 6-episode comedy series that went straight to all four. It was not shown like at a slot. It didn't have a slot like a
And
weekly
straight
slot.
to pirated YouTube. I did actually see like the video pop up, but
Oh,
I on YouTube, but I am busy because
ah.
I have a full-time job and so I didn't get a chance to watch it.
So basically, about my honest thoughts on the Horn section are it's a good show, but I wouldn't be rushing to watch it again in a heartbeat.
What is the concept of the Horn section?
So it's a sitcom that's a show within a show, and the show is about Alex. This is quite complicated. It's a show about Alex wanting to sort of not be in Greg Davies' shadow, if you see what I mean.
Oh, so the character of Little Alex Horn, as opposed to
It is
Alex Horn, the producer of Taskmaster.
Yes, that's right.
To,
It is Alex Horn in his Taskmaster character.
So it's within like the kayfabe of Taskmaster.
It technically, and I'll come back to that. Technically takes place in the TMCU.
Yes.
So there are a couple of. So it stars Alex Horn, obviously. It stars Desiree Birch, not as Desiree Birch, but as a woman called Thora, and John Oliver, believe it or not.
Oh, is John Oliver? How did they get John Oliver in it?
He makes basically Alex has like video chats with John every episode, and John is like the virtual assistant for the show. John Oliver appears in every single episode.
Okay.
So yeah, he has a part. Obviously, the Horn section are in it as well.
Which the Horn section are Alex's band, for anyone who doesn't know.
Yeah, Greg Davies does appear in the show, but only in the very first episode, where he's sort of like he's in character as the Taskmaster there as well. He does the thing where he's like, I think I might take the Horn section and we might go on tour together, that sort of thing. Like he's subtly like he's doing like authoritative manipulation techniques to try and take everything Alex likes. And also, Tim Key appears in the final episode as like a therapist who tries to, because in the penultimate episode, the Horn section break up with Alex because they don't like the way that he's running the show. The show within the show is a talk show, by the way.
The show within a show is a talk show?
Okay, so the plot is Alex wants his own show. That is the plot of the sitcom.
Okay.
That's the plot of the sitcom. And the show that Alex wants within the Horn section TV show is a talk show, which Alex hosts, and he has different guests on every week.
Oh, okay.
All right. I also mentioned that Desiree Birch and Tim Key are both in. Desiree Birch has a major role in every episode. Her character Thora, that is. And Alex makes a statement that it's a very obvious. It's a fourth wall sort of joke. Like it's an indirect fourth wall joke. He says that in preparation for the talk show that will happen within the sitcom, he says he doesn't want it to be filled with only people from Taskmaster, and the camera holds on Desiree Birch's face for a couple of seconds before she says anything.
Nah.
Yeah, and then of course Tim Key shows up as well, and then in the final episode, and one of the band members says, "You know, you look like Tim Key," and Tim Key's character says, "I don't know who that is."
They should have had Fred show up somewhere in like the background, because wasn't Fred in the Horn section for a while?
He might have been, but of course he's gone back to Sweden.
Oh no, I mean like a picture of Fred.
I mean, there must have been. Alex Horn's wife makes appearances in voice only as well. Like she's credited as Rachel Horn, but she appears in voice only. And there's this one scene where she appears. Well, you can't see, but I'm doing inverted quotation marks. She appears, but only like it's like a through the legs. How do I describe it? Basically, there's a woman who's very obviously not Rachel, and the camera's positioned and it's looking up. It's a camera that's focused on Greg and Alex, and it's looking through Rachel's inverted quotation marks legs as she's on the ground, like it's a stunt double. Obviously,
interesting.
Yeah, and Alex, the whole thing is filmed in. I don't think it's really Alex's house, but it's meant to be Alex's house within the show.
Okay.
And he's got this really nice turret, like it's like a fat round house sort of thing.
Interesting.
One thing I did like about the show is the fact that Alex. It's unclear whether the Horn section lives with Alex or they just come around every day because it feels like I like to imagine that Alex sort of just keeps them at the very bottom of his house as like I don't want to say slaves, but sort of just like you exist down here kind of thing. There was a one funny scene where he's like trying to warm the band up, and he says every time you get the tempo right, you get a sweetie.
Oh my god.
Um, I'm gonna be honest though, the show's not really anything special. Like Alex wants to stand on his own, but he is Taskmaster has boxed him into like this really submissive character. Like he's like literally every, with the exception of maybe like there's this character. I'm not sure he's. For God's sake, this is the worst review ever. There's a character called Nelly, who is, I think, is at the very least acting as a stagehand on Taskmaster. And there's a bit at the beginning of the first episode where Greg introduces Alex to the audience on the Taskmaster set, and Alex is talking to this character called Nelly. Nelly is also the showrunner on the Horn Section's TV show within a show.
Okay.
I'm doing an awful job at explaining this, aren't I?
Little bit.
I mean, I'll put it like this. If you've got a couple of hours to spare and you're not watching anything, you might as well, and you like Taskmaster, you might as well watch the Horn Section. But I'd say it's good, but it's not very rewatchable. I'd say, and I know if I had to give it like a rating out of 5 stars, I'd give it maybe a very, very, very generous 4, maybe 3.5.
Okay.
But yeah, that's my thoughts on the TV show. Oh, one more running gag. This is one bit of the show. Like, there's a running gag in, I think, every episode. One of the Horn Section members is called Will, but Will is short for a different name every episode. So it's like
Wilbert, William.
some of them. One of them is Willery, as in Hillary,
Yeah.
and he's credited as that nickname in the credits, but it's just Will. He's like Will. I forgot what his surname is, but the nickname they use for that episode is used in the credits.
Okay.
Anyway, like I said, if you've got nothing on for an evening and you're looking for something to watch, and you like Taskmaster, you might as well watch the Horn Section. It's only about 2.5 hours if you watch it in one go.
All right.
But with that said, let's get back to the much better, much more interesting show, Taskmaster.
Yes, this is season 6, episode 8. What kind of pictures? Or actually, in the correct way, what kind of pictures? It aired in the 20th of June, 2018, and I would like to note a discrepancy in this episode because
Do tell.
I watched this on YouTube, as I watch all of the Taskmaster episodes because I live in America. And on YouTube, the episode is titled, in the YouTube title, "What kind of photos?" Question mark. But it displays on the screen "What kind of pictures?" which is the episode's correct title. I'm going to send you a screenshot I took in Discord because it's very.
Oh, voice crack. That's interesting.
I think that
I
somebody
honestly
just
wasn't
must
paying
have.
attention.
I think that somebody must have screwed up because I'd seen this because there's a playlist on the Taskmaster YouTube channel that's like, the episodes for each season,
Yeah.
and I'd seen what kind of photos for like the last 4 weeks as I scrolled through it. So I just sort of assumed that's what it was called, and it's not.
I mean, I think it's just a sort of thing where it's
No,
like,
it's definitely just someone screwing up
It's
a
a-
word.
and also it's a very fixable error as well that I'm
It
surprised
is.
hasn't been fixed.
It is. Maybe nobody's noticed. I mean, maybe, we have thought in the past that someone on Taskmaster's crew listens to this podcast, and if you are, hi, because there's been a
Once this
couple.
episode goes out on Thursday, because we usually record 2 days in advance, we're recording this on Tuesday, the 8th of November. So this episode should be coming out on Thursday, the 10th of November.
If this changes after the 10th of November, then someone on Taskmaster is listening to us.
Yeah. And I mean, wasn't there the whole thing where we had the whole ball gags thing?
No, yeah,
and then they uploaded a compilation of the best ball-themed tasks.
Yeah, the ball gags episode came out, and then there was a compilation of like the best ball themed task, and then there was some other thing that was like, again, we did the episode, and a couple of days later, like a very similar compilation came out. So
I can't remember what that was.
It's not either we're unknowingly psychic or they're listening to us. It's one or the other.
Anyway, shall we talk prize task?
Yes, we shall. Just before
I did it last time.
There's a minor. Yes, so I will do it this time. There is a minor bit of banter with Alex and Greg. Apparently,
Alex has done a brass rubbing.
Of Greg's face, and then we get into the most interesting footwear. That is this prize task. I like this one. This one's a really good one. I'm also I am a sneaker guy, so I like this task a lot. So we that's the whole task brief, is bring in the most interesting footwear. We start off with Asim, who did really well. Asim, as part of whatever the hell it is he does,
somehow met Post Malone.
Knows Post Malone enough to be invited over to his house and also get into Post Malone's shoe collection, which is very vast. Everything I've heard about Post Malone's a rapper, for anyone who's not.
Yeah, he's the one with I was going to say he's the one with a lot of face tattoos, but that could also apply to rappers like Lil Wayne.
Post Malone looks like the stereotypical idea of a line cook at a greasy spoon restaurant. But he apparently is a super nice guy, is really just a nice dude who makes music that I don't happen to care for, so I'm not going to be mean about him or anything.
I mean, he's not the worst rapper I've ever heard at all.
I just don't happen to like that particular genre of rap. But anyways, Asim met Post Malone, got into Post Malone's shoe collection, and Post gave him I'm not sure whether or not he got both pair, but he got a cowboy boot and a trainer shoe or a sneaker from Post Malone's collection that had apparently never been worn. I don't know about the cowboy boot, but judging from the picture of the shoe, because Asim has a video of him wearing the shoe, because he's wearing like a boot on one foot and the shoe on the other. It looks like it's a Nike Air Max 97. I'm not
There's at least
sure.
The prize Greg commented this as well. Every single one of Asim's prize tasks up to this point has included some form of digital media of him demonstrating it, or at least sometimes it'll be a picture of him, or it'll be a photo or video of him. Like in this case, it was demonstrating it.
But I happen to like this one. I really do like the just the sneaker guy aesthetic. I like the sneakers to begin with. It's really neat, and so I am on board with that.
What about Alice?
Okay, so you need to sort of tell me. So this one drew an audible groan from the crowd, and nobody seemed to like it. Alice has brought in a Veruca sock. Now, I had to look this up. The sock, so Verucas are what British people call warts.
Well, they're specific. Foot. Yeah, they're specifically on the foot. If you remember the 2005 Charlie and the Chocolate Factory with Johnny Depp,
Veruca Salt is named that way because she's an unpleasant child and is
also
and Veruca is a wart.
I was going to say, but in particular, that version that I recall, it might have been in the film with Gene Wilder and the original book, but Johnny Depp's Willy Wonka does say when she introduces herself to him, I thought that a Veruca was a type of wart you get on your foot. Anyway, the Veruca sock is basically, if you had a veruca, you weren't usually allowed in a swimming pool because they're extremely unhygienic and what have you.
Really?
Well, I think that's the reason. I've never
Well,
had to experience it
it's
before.
just a wart. It's not really contagious or anything. It's just your skin bunching up.
Well, anyway, though, I think the
Oh no,
veruca
actually no,
sock was.
it's a kind of fungus. It might be contagious.
But regardless of that, the point of the veruca sock is so that the veruca itself does not meet the water, so that nothing can spread in it.
Oh, I thought it was a sock that prevented you from getting them.
I mean, it could be both feasibly.
I mean what's really interesting is they don't look like bad socks. I'm not like certain
I mean,
about.
they're like they see. I've never had to wear them, but they look like they're made of the same type of material as like a swimming cap.
Hmm. That seems unpleasant. I'll tell you what. I
That,
have
they'd be very tight on your feet.
my
I mean, they have to be if you're swimming.
my dad is a doctor. I live in a house where there is more than the statistical number of medicines and medical devices and everything. I've had warts on my hand. I've never had them on my feet, but I've had them on my hand. Never once in my life have I even heard about any sort of thing like that. I've never heard of anyone giving a shit about that. This is a little bit
Well,
interesting to me.
I think remember Alice said that they'd gone out of style in like or Alice or
The
Greg,
80s.
yeah, the 80s.
Which I'm going to say as well, I really did think that like a Veruca sock was being spoken of in the same disdainful tone that someone mentioned Ugg boots. Like I thought Veruca was a brand name.
No, it's not.
I could have fooled me, but
What do you
anyways,
think of Ugg boots?
I think that they okay. I don't have a strong opinion either way. I just know that they became like the byword for a very specific type of owner, which was like the basic white girl that like everybody sort of despises because everybody despises everything that makes it to the mainstream eventually. But
I'm looking on the Ugg because I've always associated
but
with Ugg boots with Australia, and they were
well
founded by
they are from Australia, but in the United States
they were
Ugg
founded
boots
by an Australian who was in the States. So
but
I don't
Ugg
know how
boots
this works.
they advertise themselves as being from Australia, but Ugg boots sort of became the boot du jour of like the basic white girl who drank
Pumpkin
whatever
spice
latte,
latte, which is
pumpkin
all.
spice lattes, listen to Justin Bieber, very like mid 2010s. It's popular, but also
Well,
everybody who's not one of those likes to make fun of them.
I have no real opinion on them. You wear
And
what you want.
I don't either. My only thought on Ugg boots is that they always seem like they'd be a bitch to clean because they're fuzzy on the outside. So if you step in a mud puddle, I can only assume you're fucked.
Oh, that reminds me. I went paintballing for a friend's birthday party. I must have been like 12 or something, which I think is quite young to go paintballing. And one of I think it was the friend of the sister who was having I think they were twins, so they were having a joint birthday party. So, but I knew the boy from the twins. One of the girl's friends, had brought Ugg boots
Hmm.
to a muddy paintball
That
field.
seems like a poor decision.
Yeah. They
Um,
didn't give us helmets, and I got shot in the head.
oof.
Yeah,
Uh,
I had to sit out for the rest of the thing.
speaking
But I
of
voluntarily did. They didn't
yeah,
force me.
speaking of colors, what else? Alice says that they're the same Pantone shade as her skin. These Veruca socks, which, considering they're white, I think is supposed to be a joke. Um, Tim, I do want to point out Tim's wearing a very nice stripy tie. I have been looking and looking. No one has yet gotten our Hawaiian shirt count
We
going
made
in a
the.
while.
We've not made the. We've
Well,
not had
there's
to.
no one's done it this season.
Imagine if Milton Jones was on
Milton
Tim
Jones
Jones,
is like my
and we
spirit
would.
animal on British comedy. I love every aspect of him.
If Milton Jones was on Taskmaster, he would literally wear a different Hawaiian. He would wear a different Hawaiian shirt for every task.
I would too. I identify with Milton Jones. It's great, but going back to what we have here, Tim Vine brought a. Okay, so it's described as a big toe bobble hat. It's basically a little knit beanie cap for just your big toe,
Yeah.
and I think it's really neat. It's nothing else really to say about that.
It's a silly little thing. I think it's
It
also the
is,
sort of thing. I think you could also put it on sort of like a boiled egg because egg cozies are a thing.
yeah. That among many other things you could put it on. Uh, Lisa, going on to Lisa, she brought in
These are
I
horrific. These are
I
horrific.
almost want to say that these don't count because dogs have paws, but she brought in little silicone dog boots that you put on your dog's paws, and because animals don't know how to deal with wearing shoes, it always makes them walk really funny.
What makes something a foot?
Nomenclature, terminology. I'm sure there's an actual definition, but I don't care enough to look it up. But oh god, I am gonna look it up. Uh,
If you if
the
you walk
lower
on it,
extremity of the leg below the ankle on which a person stands or walks.
type in something like our paws feet.
No, that seems like it's going to get me a different. Aha,
Paw is a
aha, an
four-legged
anim
animal's foot.
paw, an animal's foot having claws and pads. So it might be. It might be a. It actually might be a the correct terminology. And in any event,
I mean,
it's
we're talking about claws and stuff. Claws are to a dog what toenails are and fingernails are
yeah.
to a human. So, I
So
mean, if a human could grow both of them long enough, they could be claws.
yeah. So, anyways, silicone dog boots are what Lisa brought in. They're green. They have bunnies on them. I
They're
don't.
ugly. They're
They're
ugly as
not
hell.
pretty. Don't give a shit though, because am I a dog? No. Do I have a dog? No.
I
Um.
have a dog, and I don't think my dog would. I mean, he's not
Any.
with me. He lives with my parents, but I
And then.
don't think my dog might like them. I
And
don't
then
know.
finally, at the 27-minute mark, Russell
To be fair, though,
Howard.
we did briefly discuss the
Yes.
horn
Yeah. Yeah.
section.
Yeah. Yeah. Russell Howard brought in a soccer shoe from that he won at an auction or like a charity auction, which
Also,
belonged.
Tim Vine thinks that the C word is crikey, although I can't remember exactly how we got there.
Nope, I don't either.
Well,
Uh,
I think it was like there was something about because Tim doesn't swear in his comedy and he hasn't
no,
properly
yeah,
sworn on
okay,
the show. So uh, I think something happened that led to Tim saying, "What about everyone here stays clean?" But I swear constantly, and Greg's like, "Talking about,
oh,
oh, we'd love to
yeah,
hear you drop a C word," and then Tim goes, "Crikey."
yes, but anyways, Russell brought in a
I'll
soccer.
send you some links to a
Oh,
couple of Tim Vine
the
comedy.
C word was because I think it was the name of the Liverpool guy.
Oh, that,
The shoe is a Nike soccer shoe, Nike soccer boot that belonged to Felipe Coutinho, who was at the time
that makes
part
a good
of
segue though.
Liverpool's soccer team. Also, great joke from Tim. It doesn't look like he came from Liverpool. It looks like he came from authenticity, authenticity,
Authenticity.
authenticity. Because there's a
Mm,
certificate of
yeah.
authenticity on the
That
in the
is
box.
that was a good one from Tim. I was going to
And
say I should send you some of Tim Vine's comedy because it's very easy to digest and yeah, he's
yeah,
very he's a one line visual comic
yeah.
which is very good.
And then onwards to the scores. So Greg gives Alice last place because he doesn't like the Veruca socks. Uh,
Surprise.
Russell gets fourth place because Greg didn't give a shit about the soccer. Lisa gets third. Tim, and then it came up to Tim and Asim were both in the running for first, and Asim said, "Give it to Tim because his is better," and Tim and Greg said, "Ah, a weaker man might be influenced into giving you the point instead of Tim, and I am a weaker man." So Asim gets fifth, and
I
I
would
guess
never
five
thought Greg
points.
say he was a weaker man
I It's whatever goes for the joke. Sometimes you just got
because
to commit to the bit. But
I'm
Asim gets
watching.
first place, and Tim gets second place.
I was just going to say in response to Greg's weaker man thing. I'm currently watching Series 14, and Greg has said at numerous points that he no longer gives out bonus points, and he's also being much more strict with the scoring. I think that was from at least Series 10 he started with
Hmm.
that, or Series something like that. The COVID era of Taskmaster is really weird.
That'll
Um,
be very. very interesting when we get up to it.
Also, it'll be very difficult to talk about the prize task because there's no in-house audience to entertain. They can do more static ones.
Yeah, but
My
then we
turn
have.
to talk about the
Well, do
next
we
one.
Taskmaster Joe?
Oh,
We
of
have to
course. Drop the jingle.
It's the Taskmaster and his name is Joe and he's gonna tell us what we should know. It's Taskmaster Joe.
That was bad.
So I'm giving Tim first place because I like the
Concept.
the hat on your toe. Then I'm giving Asim and Russell joint second because both of these are shoes with provenance. They both look really neat. There's no differentiation really between them that I felt there should be, so they get joint second. In the heat of the moment, I just sort of put Alice in third because I think I just sort of assumed that they were some kind of like designer sock that were viewed as ugly, and I will stand by that because I don't give a shit. And that puts Lisa in fourth place because
Pizza, my pizza.
Lisa in fourth place because I don't care. It's just dog shit. A dog. Well, no, not. It's not. It's dog. It's shit for dogs.
They're the
Shit. It's stuff that dogs have.
Yeah.
I don't care.
They're to
It's-
prevent you from. They're to stop dog shit. Well, to stop you stepping in it. That's a lot of stopping and stepping and stuff.
Well, dogs are wearing them. It doesn't matter. Anyways, let's move on to the next one.
I shall take this one. VT task 1 is put something genuinely surprising in this chocolate egg. You have 1 hour, which I think is a very long time, after which Alex will open your chocolate egg. I mean, I say 1 hour is quite long, but considering what some people do, it's kind of
Can I just
understandable.
mention something as we
I'm
actually
listening.
as we get into the intro for this task, we get another one of those really weird, like unexplained sort of like intro shots where it's looking through like all the different like trees and bushes towards the house while heavy breathing plays over the thing over the music, which I think is supposed to be that like someone is like trying to hide from the inside from view of the house, which I is that related to the surprise, or they just have a bank of these stored up?
I don't
But
know. I think they just pre
they
film
must.
a lot of them.
I just think it's really
They
funny.
they film a lot of. I think that before or after they film the main tasks, they go to the Taskmaster house, film a lot of the B-roll footage, and like Alex's transitional shots, you could probably film.
Yeah, I just thought it was very interesting.
2 or 3 of them in maybe one day.
You could film a lot more than that.
Well, I mean, it takes a very long time to like set things up.
Yeah, for
and also with some of the after effects, like in this episode, Alex spins around on the sundial.
I think
filming that might not have taken very long, but editing it might have taken longer.
I think with you know, it was a very basic spin effect. I think that would have taken longer to render.
Maybe Alex just stood behind a green screen and they superimposed it.
They did superimpose him on a green screen. It was very obvious. That was for the commercial break. Is Alex spins around and it's very obviously him on a green screen.
Well, I mean, I was still right. Anyway, Lisa's for the beans because she's just at a coffee. I wrote Asim says generally instead of generally. I think I meant one of those generalies is meant to be genuinely. Like and also Tim can't find the task.
Tim can't find the task. It's a tiny little envelope inside the chocolate egg. It's great.
I mean, if you'd need a microscope to read that.
Apparently,
it's in a tiny little envelope inside a chocolate egg, about the size of your average
egg. A chocolate egg the size of an egg.
Yeah,
I think we found.
I mean, your average chicken egg.
Yes, and
maybe a little bit bigger actually.
And
like a chocolate, it's a chocolate Easter egg. So.
And I do want to say we get a montage of the people trying to look for stuff for the egg to put in it, and I was just thinking, wow! Before anything else, that something would really surprise Alex is if you went to his house and got something like related to him, like
his children.
No, actually, I was thinking like his blood. Or like a family member's blood.
Oh God! If you that's quite scary, actually.
Like because what else is surprising but also small enough to fit in the egg?
Well,
As we, but I'm mentioning this now because I want to just sort of state it that it's like I thought of this, and then we see Alice immediately in that same headspace.
yeah. Speaking of Alice, she has put a little piece of paper back inside the chocolate egg, which is Alex's PIN number on it, and Alex says it aloud as well. Obviously, it's bleeped out, but
And then Greg says it aloud in the and that it is 3047, which is also his
it's
home
not.
sec-
I don't. If that was his home security number or PIN or whatever, that would have been bleeped out too.
and his cell phone passcode. They could have changed it. He could have
Probably.
changed it.
Alex could have changed it in between the task and
Yeah.
which I think he probably did. But yeah, that was quite surprising, and Alex was surprised that he read it out. Asim has put
And Alice got the number from Alex's wife Rachel.
Yeah, who we've established makes appearances in voice only and stunt double form in the Horn Section TV show. Asim and Tim went down similar roads. They both wanted to find garden. You can't call a worm
Garden variety insects.
Garden variety mini beasts.
Insects.
Insects with legs.
Bugs.
Bugs, better. Yeah, that's better. Garden bugs. Asim a worm. Tim common fly.
Tim wanted to find a bee, but he could not. He tried to climb a tree to find a bee, but could not. But could not. In fact, capture one.
I thought you were trying to make it a rhyme.
No, that I was.
He climbed the tree to find a bee,
but could not see.
And all good rhymes, they come in threes.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, I bumped my microphone. I've lost my train of thought. I don't have anything for Asim because I go off Taskmaster.info.
I will say that Asim was really funny because they showed him like digging in the dirt trying to find a worm. Just general notes on this. Asim's egg is like very neatly sealed together, and there's just a little bit of dirt with the worm in it. And then Tim's looks like it's been kludged together out of like grass and like melted chocolate to try and seal it together.
It's like I'm sure there's some kids TV show or something, but like the kid breaks like a valuable china teapot or teacup or something.
Yeah.
And they put it back together with glue and stuff, and it looks awful. That's what it looks like. I wrote for Tim yuck because I have a strong hatred of flies.
Yeah,
not like common blue bottles and fruit flies. Butterflies are all right.
I think it's more interesting that the fly left the egg, landed on the egg, looked at Alex, and then flew away.
Also, Tim's giggly little girl where he goes like, "Whee!"
Because he did not expect the fly to do that. He named the fly Philip.
I was thinking, have you seen the? God, there's so many SpongeBob memes, but there's one. I can't remember what the context is, but Patrick, he turns around and he's got tiny eyes and he's waving his hands and it goes like, "Whee!"
I don't remember that one at all.
God, if you find there's like a 10-hour version on YouTube or something. There's 10-hour versions of every SpongeBob.
You need to find SpongeBob memes on YouTube. I have other.
Russell, I wrote in my notes. I wrote pro Nazis.
Yes, so Russell wrote a tiny note and sealed it inside the egg and basically promised Alex things.
The note includes a trip to see Liverpool.
The football team.
Yeah, football team. I assume that's a team that Alex supports Liverpool.
Or soccer team. But yeah,
and he took Russell and Alex's son.
Yeah, so actually it was a trip for 3.
Yeah, but I think the fact that Alex didn't have to worry about as much, he was quite relieved at. A week's holiday in a Spanish villa, which somehow is tied to Russell.
Russell's parents have what I assume is a timeshare because he can only go in July.
Oh, okay. And the book How Green Were the Nazis, and a single grain of rice signed
by shit. I don't know who it was signed
It's
by.
not in the taskmaster.info.
No, that's why I write stuff down. Like I continue to write stuff down. Hold on, I gotta open up a safe.
Do you remember the task where they had to get someone's signature on a famous vegetable?
Yes.
Imagine getting Tim Rice's signature on a grain of rice.
Oh my god.
Tim Rice has worked with Andrew Lloyd Webber on a lot of musicals.
Nah.
That is how you'll probably
hold
know
on.
him.
So I am looking this up. The book is How Green Were the Nazis? Nature, Environment, and Nation in the Third Reich. Written by a man. Okay, so we've got who actually wrote this? Oh, okay. So we're just going to get off topic here. I am in private browsing right now because I don't want this to be like in my search history. There's no author listed on Amazon. It is edited by 3 people, two of whom have normal names, and one of whose first name is Franz Josef. So I'm like, automatically this.
Well, you say they've got normal names. Then those names are more than likely not English.
Thomas and Mark.
Yeah, but you can. Thomas can be like Thomas.
No, Thomas. Thomas Zeller.
It can be pronounced that way.
Mark Siak, and then Franz Josef Bruggenmeier. And
they're all probably.
They're all probably Germans. They all probably have questionable political beliefs. And I say that because the cover of this book is something the Nazis clearly did in the 40s, and it's now being a thing, which is that there's a forest of pine trees, and in the middle of it there's a bunch of deciduous trees that are like turning yellow as the leaves change, and
it's in the shape of a
swastika. Yeah. And I'm like, you're not putting your name next to this unless I'm not.
I've clicked on it. We're showing an example of the hardcore edition because a sample of the paperback edition from Ohio University Press that you selected is not available.
What do you mean Ohio University Press? No, why would? Oh my God! I have to be in
of all the things to get hung up on.
Ohio University. They're in the middle of God. What the fuck? Athens County, Ohio. Why are they publishing this? Listen, do you know what they do at Ohio University? What the number one major in Ohio University?
3 editors.
The number one major at Ohio University.
Did they work at
shit-faced on
Ohio
Daddy
University
White.
at the
There
time?
is absolutely no reason anyone should be writing How Green Were the Nazis there.
Don't buy this book. Certainly don't buy the hardback cover, which is £72.
$80. And also, Amazon is recommending me that I buy them together with The Green and the Brown, A History of Conservation in Nazi Germany, and Nazi Ecology, The Oak Sacrifice of the Judeo-Christian Worldview in the Holocaust. What is this? Who reads these?
More importantly, why are we looking at it?
Because
why are we still looking at it?
Because it's like watching a train wreck. You can't look away. Oh my God. Other viewed items include Eco-Fascism Revisited, Lessons from the German Experience. People are just allowed to write things.
If this wasn't such a controversial topic, it could be the title of this episode.
Oh yeah, no, we're not. Green Tyranny, Exposing the Totalitarian Roots of the Climate Industrial Complex.
I'm not saying at all we should name our episode this, but this type of conversation we're having is the sort of highlight of the episode. And
it is. So products related to this item. Okay.
Lisa has put a recording in the chocolate egg thing.
Dandelion Insurrection, Love and Revolution.
The Dandelion Insurrection sound.
That sounds. Is that a
violent uprising against an authority or government?
Is that a novel? This is a novel. Why is this being? I don't want to know why this is being recommended to me from.
The Dandelion Insurrection is the sort of thing we would title an episode. But yes, I think considering the context in which we found it, we can't.
No, we can't. No. Okay.
Anyway, Lisa has put a recording. I need to delete that from. I didn't open up an incognito tab.
Oh
So
my
I need
god.
to. I'll delete it from my history.
Private browsing, major concern. Anyways,
Detectable private browsing. Put down over here.
what did Lisa
Lisa
do?
put in recording in the chocolate egg saying Jeremy irons
Oh,
loose in
hold
your
on, we
garage.
forgot. Alex did go to the game with Russell, and at the time they made plans to go to Spain. But onwards to Lisa.
This is probably the third time in a minute I've said this, but Lisa put a recording in the chocolate egg saying
Jeremy Irons lives in your garage.
Can we put that in as a soundbite in the episode? In
fuck
here?
it. I mean, sure, why the hell not? What even is this podcast anymore?
Sir, a book review of questionable topics.
Huh. What are you saying there?
We review questionable books published by Ohio University Press. If I could steal that book, I'd review it. I'm not paying for it.
Maybe it's in the library somewhere.
I don't want that associated with my name. I'm sure that puts you on a list.
Schindler's List.
No, don't you bring that into here. That guy was a good guy. No, there's a much worse list to be on. But
no, I was tying it back to. Oh,
I know.
I can't believe that I've made it. Am I getting cancelled?
No, I will say it's really funny because I said it in case you didn't.
Shall we talk about the scores?
Ohio University is the kind of place where you go to major in drinking, so it's not like they're known as an educational powerhouse. Okay, at least in state. I don't know if maybe they have a different reputation.
Can we please do the scores?
Yes,
please.
yes. I don't fucking know what the scores are.
We're nearly 50 minutes. This is classic Emerson and Joe. We take too long.
Okay. Alice got
5. Alice got 5.
Alex
Tim
was
got
the one
4.
who judged these, so there's no Taskmaster
Okay.
Joe.
Alice got 5. Tim 4. Asim, Lisa, and Russell all got 3.
And then, quickly before we go on, there is 2 adapted versions of this task. They did it in Stormester Season 2, Episode 2, and then Surmastari Season 3, Episode 8, which aired this year, back in June, which involved doing it inside of a plastic lemon inside of a chocolate egg. That's it. We're continuing.
Onwards and upwards, I think.
Onwards and to the left, and we're going to meet. Actually, no, onwards and to the far right. Anyways, hi. Let's meet this woman named Carol. So we're inside the same pub we were in a couple of episodes ago. We're going to meet a very nice.
I wouldn't be surprised if these 2 tasks were filmed on the same.
Oh, they filmed a bunch of these on the same day here, but the task brief is find out what you have in common with this person. You must look the person in the eye throughout the task. You must shake hands every time you discover something in common. Most remarkable things in common wins. You have a maximum of 10 minutes. Your time starts now.
Can I ask a very quick question?
Yes.
Which is more plausible? Do you think they film, they set up for one task and then all the contestants come in at allocated slots? Or they film a bunch of tasks for individual contestants?
I think it depends on the task. I think that sometimes they film a bunch in one day, and sometimes they might film a bunch with one person and reset it.
I think a task, for example, a task like the how long is a piece of string task, that was probably all shot on the same day with everyone at different times.
Yeah, or this one because it's in an outside location. They might have just shot it all in one day and had people come in differently.
Yeah. Anyway, talk about this task, Joe.
Yes. Most remarkable thing in common is you have maximum 10 minutes. Your time starts now. It's a very nice old woman named Carol. She has a dyed purple streak in her hair. She's great. She's fun.
She's sort of like the cool, older librarian at your school sort of thing.
Yes.
She reminds me a bit of Miriam. She gives me Miriam Margoyle vibes.
Well, and it's funny you should mention that she was a primary school teacher before she retired. So that's what she was. But we start off with Tim and Lisa, who are the oldest, which is why they went first. A lot of really mundane questions about like
Tim and Lisa both born in the 60s, the other three born in the 80s.
yes, Tim Tim like asked a bunch of mundane questions. They got into like board games and alcohol, which board games and alcohol. Lisa asked more about the alcohol. Surprise, surprise. Tim eventually got into a groove when he started talking about kitchen stuff, and then they both found out that they were bad at tennis in the same way. They both ended up doing both serves into the net, and so they got on great. Lisa had more. Lisa found, to quote Taskmaster.info, Lisa found out she had quite a lot in common with Carol, mainly by agreeing with all of Carol's answers, including her favorite color. This actually is where we get the name of the episode from, because Carol says that her favorite color is purple. Lisa says her favorite color is purple. Alex calls her out on this and says, would I be able to find any pictures of you wearing purple? And Lisa goes, what kind of pictures? And like
What a very
real,
odd question.
really quickly. So I'm I don't know where that one's going from. Maybe Lisa thinks that maybe Lisa owns a bunch of purple underwear.
Well,
or
maybe if
something.
she's asking what kind of pictures, she can find every purple item of clothing she can, and then send them all to Alex in
Yeah.
that style of photo.
Then we go on to
There's not. It's a weird. This is a weird task to talk about.
well, I've got a lot. Russell and Alice are up next. Russell was like Russell played the game right, and he was like, do you have are you a human? And like other stuff like that, like things that are obviously they have in common.
Yeah,
And he
but it's
went
the
through
most
that.
interesting thing.
I'd imagine if she said no, that would be interesting. But anyways,
No, I'm an alien from another planet, and I'm here to steal your DNA and your identity.
yes. Wow, so am I. Isn't it great that us lizard people get to meet up? Something like that. But
Wow, I didn't know you were Mark Zuckerberg.
no, Mark Zuckerberg is a robot. Yeah, very different. But anyways, they actually do
Oh,
finally
he was
get
he
on.
was a lizard.
They finally do get on better together. When Russell asks her if she likes earwax removal videos, and she says no idea what that is, but he shows her some and she likes it. So that's very fun. I just to mention, I don't like any of those, removal popping videos because because nobody ever just does it minorly. Like, I don't know if you watch any of these, Emerson. I hate those fucking things because
What?
earwax removal or pimple popping videos. All of those are really
Oh
great.
no! I like to watch videos of things getting shredded or crushed with a
Yes.
hydraulic
Well,
press.
no. The problem with those pimple popper and the earwax removal videos is that nobody ever likes. Nobody ever wants to watch the ones of like a normal person's ones. It's always like this horrible deformed, person who's had like this illness for 19 million years. Getting it dealt with, and it's like it makes me want to like retract my limbs inside my body.
I mean, I went through a small phase of watching. I don't even know if I want to say because you might find it quite disgusting.
I don't. We're just going to keep on going. Trust me, it's much more
I
satisfying.
won't say it just because I don't want that information about me on the internet.
It's much
I'll
more
probably
sad-
tell you. I'll tell you off recording.
It's much more satisfying to have your earwax removed than to watch it on a video. I'm going to go with that. But
Oh yeah, definitely. I was just saying in terms of things I would watch.
But Alice, meanwhile, Alice actually misunderstood the prompt and assumed that there was a single correct answer, like this person has like a close relation to her. But they actually ended up discovering that by accident that they were both Cancers and born the astrological sign Cancer
Within
and
a few
both
days of
born
each other.
in the same week in July. Alice was the 8th and Carol was the 12th, or it was the other way around.
I think it was someone was born on the 11th. I think, but
11th, it's something
that's
like
neither
that.
here nor there.
Yes, and then I can just Google Alice Levine. Why am I doing this? Alice Levine birthday, the 8th. So Carol was the 11th.
Okay. What's next?
And then onwards from there we get Asim, who again goes the Russell Howard approach of quantity over quality, like asks if she has all the same body parts as he does. And like, do you have hands, arms, hair,
I mean,
limbs?
they both have genitals, but
They
not
both
the
have
same.
genitals, although not the same kind.
Although,
And
to be
then,
fair, though, that can't be. You can't assume that until you've seen it.
yeah, well, you can always ask. If they say they don't, I'm going to take them on their words for it. And then,
Fair enough.
eventually they find out that they both taught in a school. And then, more to the point, Carol has some wonderful, funky sneakers on, and Asim likes sneakers too. I
As
like
we've
sneakers
seen.
as well. It's great. So that is where both of them are, and also, Asim says Nike wrong again. He pronounces it Nike. And then, anyways, he also manages to not so subtly flex that he has a BAFTA. And so we get into the scoring round. Nobody gets 1 point. Tim and Al, because Greg thought they all did very well. Tim and Alice get 2 points each. Lisa gets 3, Russell 4, and Asim 5 points. And then drop the Taskmaster Joe theme right here.
It's the Taskmaster and his name is Joe and he's gonna tell us what we should know. It's Taskmaster Joe.
Go for it.
I liked all of these. Alice and Asim get first place because I thought they both had really neat similarities. Alice far and away the best, but I like sneakers, so I have to give Asim first place as well. Tim and Russell get second because they managed to get a bunch of interesting stuff, and then Lisa goes third because she just sort of did agree with everything. And then right before we move on, there are adapted versions of this task, and this is very interesting because I'm not sure which. Okay, so the first aired version of this task is not Taskmaster UK.
Really?
No, it is.
I thought
it is season 1, episode 4 of Dicho y Hecho, the short-lived Spanish version of Taskmaster, which aired on the 6th of April 2018. Taskmaster UK season 6 episode 8 came out on the 20th of June. So 2 months ahead of time, but I'm almost
Wow.
willing to guarantee you that the Taskmaster UK one was filmed or conceived of first. So I'm not entirely sure whether or not this is like one of the only ones to be brought over from Spain, or if Alex just happened to give out that idea to the Spanish crew ahead of time and then also used it in season 6. But anyways, there's also season 2, episode 5 of Stormmaster, and then a slightly altered version, season 2, episode 10 of Stormastari in 2021, which was the stranger is hidden out of sight in an adjoining room, as it is someone whom the contestants might recognize. So I'm assuming it's like a friend or family member, and they sort of have to figure that out. But that's very interesting. I didn't really know that until I clicked on this. So yeah.
You learn something new every day.
You learn something new every second of every day. But we are then going...
That's not probably entirely true, but oh well.
Yes, and then we are going to go on to the next task, which is you.
It is me, indeed. So, VT Task 3. Wearing these high heels, create the best dot-to-dot picture on this canvas. So they've got like it's like a big styrofoam red thing.
Yeah, it's like a foam. It's a sheet of foam painted red.
Also, they very generously gave them quite low but still pointy heels, so they're relatively easy to walk in. At least for the blokes who wouldn't usually wear them as much.
I think someone actually just put it in their hand at one point. I think that might.
Oh
have
yeah,
been
that was Alice. Which
Yeah.
I was going to say was a smart tactic, but when we actually see Alice's in a second, we'll talk about.
I
that.
feel like if I were doing this, I would have had to put it in my hand because I guarantee you that they don't make size 14 heels like that.
I think we could probably find you something.
Okay, they shouldn't make size 14 heels.
Why not?
Because I guarantee you that nobody whose feet are that big are going to like wearing them. I'm almost certain I would make those heels collapse. I am enormous.
Well, I'm quite. I was going to say I'm quite light, but I'm currently at 90 kg, but I don't know if that's in muscle or fat because I've been working out a lot lately.
Okay, Emmers, I'm probably 24 stone if we're talking about like UK specific weight. I don't think they make...
I'm 14. I'm the same weight as Alex Horn. At least that time he said his weight in the show. I'm 14 stone.
So I'm like 340 pounds. I don't think they make heels for people like me. I can't even wear Nike Air Max shoes because the air bladders deflate prematurely.
I was quite worried that my BMI was because I've got my BMI is normal for someone my age, but the thing said it was quite high.
My BMI is holy shit. Go to the gym.
Although I was looking at sometimes the BMI calculator is not always accurate because like people as someone who's quite tall, yeah, that I think a source said that if your waist length, if your waist circumference is less than 40 for a man, then your BMI is healthy, regardless of how.
All right, it's not. Mine's not. Let's just leave it at that. But I also don't.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
I also don't think that I would. It would. Let's just keep going. Okay.
I'm sorry, Joe.
Yes.
Are you saying yes that you accept my apology, or?
You didn't need to apologize. Let's just keep on going.
Sorry.
We're at the
Asim
hour and 2 minute mark.
We've gone on longer. Asim, I think, went first. Either way, Asim made a picture of the emoji of a man sticking his tongue out.
And winking.
Which
That's very important because they show the wrong one. And Asim yells at them about it.
But more importantly, when you're supposed to join them up together, and obviously when you do that, it looks very...
Well, Asim hadn't numbered it. They were provided with stickers for to number the holes, and Asim
That's true.
didn't.
But even to be fair though, even if it was numbered correctly, there's just going to be like all these lines between the people's faces.
They actually no. When they did Tim's, they did specifically show that some of them were not. That some of them were not connected.
I think maybe the best way to do that would be have different. Like you have one sequence of 1 to whatever, and then in a different part of the image you have one starting again for a different object.
Yeah. Okay, so Emojipedia says that this emoji is called winking face with tongue.
Is it actually winking with? I mean, it's called winking face with tongue.
Yes, one eye is open, the other is closed, and the tongue is sticking out.
Yeah, but even then, was the mouth open, or was it just like the smile with the sticking out?
The mouth is open.
Is this the emoji? Are you talking about the actual emoji or
the actual
drawing?
The actual emoji is called
because Asim's seem to be a combination of the two.
Asim's is being done in a medium in which detail cannot be exceptionally gained. I'm going to give him a pass.
Alice made a picture of the TM letters, and it was so bad.
It did not require much effort to figure it out, although I don't... Greg thinks that this is an exceptionally boring one. I honestly am not entirely opposed to it because unlike literally everyone else. It's apparent what it's supposed to be. You know, Asim's looked like a Dali portrait. Russell's was terrible. Lisa's was obscene, and Tim. Okay, you're gonna have to let me talk about Tim's when we get to it.
Okay. Excuse me. Uh, yeah, we just did Alice.
Yes.
Lisa's.
Well,
No, not Lisa's.
Russell.
Not next. Russell's next. Russell's done a picture of Alex, but he also didn't number the dots. So Alex had two of his kids, his 6-year-old and his 9-year-old, at the time of filming. Draw it. He went with the better. I say better. His 9-year-old's drawing because it looked more accurate. Aside from the fact that it looked like he'd been severed nearly in half.
At the waist. Yes.
Yeah.
And then on to Tim's.
Tim has made a picture of the bow of the Titanic on the bottom of the ocean bed as viewed from above with debris around it.
Which this is not an accurate drawing. This is not an accurate depiction in any way, shape, or form. I just want that to be out there because...
Could he have just said, if he had just said, like, it's a sunken ship, would it have been much better?
It doesn't matter because he said the Titanic, and I just want to point this out to that.
But could this be like a duck in a golf bag kind of thing?
I don't remember, maybe, but the Titanic, when it sank, the bow section extended all the way to between the third and fourth funnels. So that's not really the bow section as the forward 3/4 of the ship. It's not he's clearly drawn it as like the bow itself just sort of like fell off, which is not correct. There's also debris around the front of the ship, which didn't really happen. Like this is specifically something that triggers Joe. This has nothing else to do with anybody else.
Well, very obviously, because
this is.
I have no strong emotion.
Wrong.
I have no strong emotions about this at all.
Also, what the fuck was going on in Tim's head that this is what he made?
And also, what does your mind have to... I mean, you have to create a good drawing, yeah, so it's good to think a little bit outside the box, but who goes here?
Right?
Like, who...
What was he drawing? Because he clearly did not start with this in mind.
If I wanted to do a drawing, I would...
What did he fuck up that he was like, oh shit, this kind of looks like the wreck of the Titanic? Oh, like what was he drawing?
I mean, the little bit of the front of the ship looks like a cracked egg. So
I was thinking
something.
almost like it looks like an umbrella. Like he fucked up drawing an umbrella and was like, I could make this something else.
That's fair. Scores. Tim gets 5.
No, we haven't done Lisa yet. We haven't done Lisa.
Oh, you're right. We've not done Lisa. Lisa's done a cock and ball.
Yep.
Scores?
That one Alex's kids did not fill out.
Scores?
Yes.
Tim gets 5, Lisa 4, Russell 3, Alice 2, Asim 1. I think we have some oppositions from our Taskmaster, Joe.
Yes, and also I want to point out that Greg gave Tim the win out of respect for the dead families of the Titanic. Which, as point of order, I think at this point when they filmed this, if not everyone who had ever been on the ship was dead, or like 2 people were left.
There was this one woman who went on like 2 ships that sunk, one of which was the Titanic.
That was Violet Jessup. She was a cabin maid for the White Star Line. She was on both the Titanic and the Britannic when they sank. And yes, Joe does know a lot about the Titanic. Whatever gave you that thought? But
someone watched a lot of the Leonardo DiCaprio Titanic.
No, I actually didn't see that movie till it got re-released in like 2015. If you think that I didn't watch all of the National Geographic documentaries on VHS tapes when I was a kid, you're wrong. I did. I didn't
highest
watch...
grossing movie of all time until Avatar came out.
I know, but
and then Avengers Endgame.
Do you
came
know
out.
what happened? My parents saw Titanic when it came out, and do you know what they did? They fucking hated it. They walked out before the end, and some guy actually asked them, "Don't you want to see how it ends?" So they did not watch that ever.
If
I never
if you
saw
ask
it.
if you ask the question, don't you want to see how it ends? Specifically about a biopic. I mean, it's not really a biopic,
Of
but
historical
historical
movie.
event, historical movie, which people for nearly 100 years know what happens. Anyway, I've not seen the movie because it was infamously one of those films that had two VHS tapes.
Yes,
Um,
I have one somewhere.
what I'm saying this because I've not seen the film. Why on earth is it so long? This isn't.
Because James Cameron wanted to make it that long. Because it's a
It
2.5 hour movie, or like almost 3 hours, and VHS technology meant that unless you
No,
recorded it,
I'm not complaining about the. I think about movies, and some movies I think, why are they so long?
do you want to know which movie was? There were some movies that are.
I mean,
really
I've complained about the Mozart biopic being too long.
I'll tell you what's really too long was
What?
fucking. You might. This is a weird one to be hung up about. Remember that. Do you ever see Julie and Julia? The film about the woman who wanted to make every single recipe in Julia Child's cookbook in a year. And
No.
no, it's probably not. It was a Meryl Streep movie. It was probably some kind of Oscar bait film.
I only know who Julia Child is because of the
Epic Rap
ERB
Battles
with
of
Gordon
History. Yep.
with Gordon
But
Ramsay.
no, okay. Doesn't Julia Child was a famous TV chef in America, like the first one. Anyways,
Yeah.
someone made a movie about a book that there was a book about a blog about a woman who made every single recipe in her cookbook in a year because there's like 400 recipes, and that movie was like 2 hours and 59 minutes long or something like that.
It says here it's only just over 2 hours.
I don't know how long it was. It
says it's 123 minutes, which is just over 2 hours.
It felt like it took 9 years. I came out of that movie and it was like the middle of the night. Like that movie took so much longer than it needed to get through its story beats. And I saw this when I was like 15. It was so stupid. And I wanted to see it. It should never have been that long. But anyways, we're getting off track. Where the fuck are we talking about? Oh, yeah, Taskmaster Joe theme. Jesus Christ. Talk about things going on for longer than you need to.
I think once I've done that earlier soundbite in the editing booth, I'm just gonna complete the thing and just send it to you without listening to the whole thing. Anyway, what are the scores? I've put the jingle in. No,
so
the
I
jingle
didn't
will
think
be in.
that anybody deserved first place. Nobody deserved first place because these all fucking suck. That being said, Alice, Lisa, and Tim made things that are capable of being identified once you have given the description. So they get joint second place. Russell Howard gets third because it could conceivably be a picture of Alex Horn. Asim gets fourth because it looks like a surrealist art painting. Moving on to the live task.
Which is you.
Which is
Joseph.
fucking bandages. Okay, so
Well, it's post-it notes for it.
no,
Plasters.
why are they called plasters in the United Kingdom? They're not plasters. They're bandages.
Well, a bandage is what we would call the white thing that you put on, like the traditional hard cast that you put on someone's broken leg
That's a cast.
or a broken arm. Well, that's what we call a. Well, the cast would be made from bandages or something.
That's gauze.
That's what we call
I understand
bandages.
that y'all are wrong.
Well, the proper correct name for it is a sticking plaster.
Again, incorrect.
I can Google why our plaster.
I don't care why your country is wrong. Anyways,
The word plaster. Oh, sorry. Listen to this. The word plaster is of Old English origin, meaning a bandage spread with a curative substance. This comes from the medical Latin word emplastrum, also meaning plaster or bandage. So the words are sort of interchangeable.
we're going back to the Romans again. Oh my God. Anyways, continuing on, this task is.
Well, I mean, if you think about why.
This is me
Have you seen
bitching
those-
and moaning about a word. This is not actually. I want to know why. I need to just stress.
Oh no, I'm talking about. Have you seen those Instagrams like the word autumn develops from the Roman words autumnal or something?
Yeah, and then it goes and then it makes fun
And
of the
like
Americans
we
by
call
going.
it fall because this means fall. Blah blah blah.
That's not actually why. I don't remember why it is fall and not autumn, but there's an actual reason why. It's not just that we're stupid, but also anybody who like makes that joke, congratulations, we've heard it 1,000 million times.
Can we agree that autumn is a nicer word? I'm not saying it's a better word in this
Autumn
context.
is a nice word to say.
I will give benefit of the doubt to both of them because they both work.
Yes. So
It's like the whole first floor, ground floor complex.
Yes.
That one works as well.
I'm going to just tell you this. I know that the first floor in England is the ground floor, but like the ground floor in America is it's something different. Nobody does that in the States. Like, I cannot stress this enough. Nobody does that. Like,
What do you
it's
mean?
not even a like consideration. It's like ground floor, second floor, instead of ground floor, first floor, second floor.
So there technically is no first floor in the States.
Well, no, the ground floor is the first floor.
Well, I get that. It's called the first floor because usually it's the first floor you walk in on, and then the second floor would be the second floor that you would usually go to.
No. It's the ground floor.
No, I'm talking about it I'm describing it from the standpoint of an American.
Yeah, no, it would be it's like
called, from an American perspective, it's called the first floor because it's usually the first floor that you see or come into when you enter the shop, which I get. That's the second floor is
it's the first floor is called the ground floor.
Oh, so
like
the term first floor does not exist.
Not usually. It's usually like first floor and ground floor are interchangeable, but usually, like if you get in an elevator, the buttons go G 2 3 4, or it's 1 2 3 4.
We don't have a title. Should we call this episode a tricky tangent?
Numerous tangents, maybe. But
Or
anyways,
tricky tangent is better because of the alliteration.
once we have gotten back from our tangent,
stick a plaster to the correct body part.
Alex will say the names of 3 body parts. You must stick a plaster to the body part that comes second in the dictionary out of the 3 body parts. Slowest person to stick a plaster to the correct body part is eliminated. Last player standing wins. So we're going to just need to explain a couple things. By when they say in the dictionary, they mean alphabetical order.
Yeah.
And also, when they say this, and they say slowest person, they also do incorrect person. So,
well, I think if you're slower, but someone did it, but put it faster in the incorrect place, they would go out.
I'm not sure, but yes.
Surely you have to, right? Because you got the body part wrong. So
yeah, so that's
you were wrong in 2 places rather than
the incorrectest person goes out. So
yeah, because they go out they're knocked out one at a time.
Yes, and so I wrote down what everybody actually did, and it doesn't really help because I didn't write down what the other words were. So like round 1, there are 4 rounds. Tim is eliminated. He put the bandage on his neck.
Instead of his nose.
Instead of his nose. Okay.
Nose was the second word alphabetically.
Nose was the second. You wrote this down. Good.
No, I didn't. I just remember that.
Round 2, Asim was eliminated. He put it on his heel instead of... Do we know?
No.
No. Okay, good. See, why did I bother to write this down? Round 3, Alice is eliminated because she was the slowest. She did it correctly.
And then, Lisa came second because she put
round
it
4,
slower.
Lisa's did it slowest, so Russell won. Which means that we have a tiebreaker task.
Also, can I just say, coming up into this, Asim was winning.
Yes,
he could have won.
And now Asim is losing.
Well, he's in joint 3rd place.
Yes.
But because of how many people score quite highly. The tiebreak task is receive a text message the quickest. So
Your
Lisa,
time starts now.
yeah, Lisa spent 57 seconds writing a text and received a text back after 3 minutes and 53 seconds. Russell, I don't think he sent a text to anyone, but he received a text in 3
No,
minutes.
Russell texted his mother after realizing that he didn't have a lot of friends and his girlfriend is a doctor and so is not allowed to have her phone at work.
Okay. But he got a text back from his mother in 3 minutes 51 and wins the episode. Well done, Russell.
I could have beaten that. Half the time when I call mom, it's during work. It's when she's at work, so she just sends me. She does the automatic thing.
Do you think a Snapchat or an Instagram DM counts as a text?
No.
Okay.
Text message.
Okay.
Like through the text messaging application, but no, I half the time when I
this
call,
episode's gone on long enough. We've gone on several really weird tangents.
Yes, but Russell wins the episode and then goes up on stage and puts on the big toe sock
on his big toe.
On his big toe.
The most useless thing ever.
If your toe is cold, you can wear a hat on it. You can put a hat on it.
Especially if you have no big toe, it's the most useless thing ever.
Then it's the second toe.
Then it's an egg cozy. Full circle.
Yep.
All right. This episode's been a bit longer than our usual new episode length, but we shall see you next time.
Yes. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Don't do drugs.